next. And my goalkeeper coach at the Courage, Nathan, had reached out.
Welcome back to Play in the Pros.
And it just kind of worked out that I came in January to the Courage and trained as a trialist for a couple months. I chose to stay. I thought this environment was really going to serve me. I was really lucky to be surrounded by such great goalkeepers. I mean, the goalkeeper group I came into was one of the best parts. It was such an easy transition from a people perspective. Being surrounded by good people was fantastic. So yeah, I trained for a couple months, signed a contract in May, and here we are.
She brought us right to the present.
Yeah.
I think that when a lot of people talk about, okay, I want to be a professional soccer player, or I think I want to go pro when I'm done, it's almost like so far off. And I'm sure for a long time you felt like that too. You're like, okay, but I'm at the here and the now. What are some of the steps you think you had to take or that you did take that led you to kind of taking advantage of the opportunity to go pro at the end of your 5th year?
Yeah, I think being really honest with myself and doing a lot of work off the field. I think that's where a lot of my inspiration came from. When we were watching film religiously, and I would come into training, post training, we'd watch film, post games, we're watching film, and just kind of learning how not to coach myself, because I think as a coach, you can become super hypercritical of yourself and decisions that you make. And I think I experienced that after my internship a little bit. But just learning the game in all the ways, and by studying film and really investing in myself and seeing the areas okay, this is something that I'm pretty good at, but this is something that's really being exposed right now, and finding ways and teaching myself new tools is what kind of inspired me to keep going and keep growing. I think is the biggest thing was the whole process over my 5 years at St. Joe's, which is I had a growth mindset. I just wanted to get better day by day, game by game, season by season. And I think a lot of that came from the work I did off the field and working together with you to target areas of my game that needed more development.
And I think it's no surprise, anytime you level up is tough, right? So you talk about having this growth mindset. You talk about not only doing work on the field, but having a decent amount of things that you were putting attention to off the field. When you think about kind of that leveling up from college to pro, what's the biggest change up or the biggest thing that you were I have to receive more support here, or I need to put some emphasis on getting better here?
I think the most glaring one was in possession. I mean, it's just a very different game. And I think coming from a mid-major, I think I was very much so incorporated with our team in possession. And I think it helped me a lot, be in high pressure situations. Can we retain possession? Trying to be a playmaker. But the jump from college to pro in possession was probably the most glaring. How fast the players are, how quickly you have to make decisions, how much faster you have to scan, how much more you have to scan. The pictures really change. And then you add on top of that, playing into your team's style, right? Making sure that I'm attentive in film and what the team wants to accomplish, so that when I am in these training environments and training settings, I might not be doing things that I'm personally good at, but also making sure that I'm doing what the team's objective is. And that can change for.
Welcome to the Keeper Institute podcast. My name is Tori Corsaro. I'm a strength and conditioning and goalkeeper coach here at the Keeper Institute, and your host for today's show. The Keeper Institute is a unique goalkeeper training facility in New Jersey aimed at developing better goalkeepers and better people. On this podcast, we will be discussing all things goalkeeping, character development, and more.
Welcome back to another episode of the Keeper Institute podcast. Maddie, any air horn?
I'm a little sick. That was not a good attempt, but
That's okay. It's okay. A little nasally air horn never hurt nobody. All right. Well, I let you people know we got a guest today, and that guest, none other than Maddie Prohaska. We are so happy that you're here with us. We're going to kind of continue on. I guess it's kind of a series at this point, but we're going to continue on with talking about that transition from
the collegiate ranks to the pros. And we're just so pumped to have Maddie. She's one of the greatest human beings, and she happens to be a really great goalkeeper as well. So can't wait to dive into this topic with you today.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thanks for having me.
Jillian, any words of wisdom?
I'm excited because Maddie and I spoke on the phone a week or so ago, and we spoke for like an hour on the phone, and I left feeling like, oh, so refreshed. Like, it's so refreshing to have great conversation about life and goalkeeping, and I think more specifically about life and just like who we are as people are some of my favorite things to talk to Maddie about. So hopefully you guys all profit from her wisdom and her outlook on life as much as I do.
Bam, bam, bam. That's what I got to say about that. All right. So let's kind of get into it. We're going to start with low-hanging fruit. Not really. Maddie, can you just walk us through a little bit of like, what was your journey like in terms of going from playing in college at Auburn to going to play in the pros?
Yeah, it's funny because I look back to me a year ago and I'm like, there's no way everything that's happened has actually happened to me, because it was such a like far-fetched dream, it felt like at first. But when I graduated in December, I went to a combine up here in Seattle, and there was about 12 goalkeepers. And my goalkeeper coach, Lloyd, he kind of ran the combine. And from there, he selected 2 goalkeepers to come back to preseason. And the idea was those 2 goalkeepers were going to fight for a contract. It was me and a goalkeeper named Macy Enneking, who's like a phenomenal human being, a great goalkeeper. Like, I couldn't have asked for a better person to like compete and train with. And we came back middle of January, and we were actually roommates as well. So like that first day we kind of just talked, and we were like, hey, like this is both a dream for us, so let's just like enjoy the experience, and like whatever happens happens. And so from there we competed all preseason, and at the end of preseason, so about mid-February, end of February, we got told which one of us was getting the contract. It was a bittersweet. Obviously, Macy and I had become such good friends that it was like sad to like have her go, because I love training with her so much, but it was a dream come true and like such a like highlight. And so we got like a little break. I go and celebrate. Sorry, that's my dog back there. Baker, come down.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was your hair, so I didn't know what was happening.
No, it's Baker. And so went and like celebrated, enjoyed the moment, and then just got back to Seattle, got moved in my apartment, like let the work begin. And it was such an awesome experience. I started as a 3 until our 2, Cassie Miller, got injured, unfortunately. And so since about May, I've been traveling and been the 2, which has been like even more of a dream come true, because I always had the expectation that my rookie year was just my year to soak everything up, be that like teammate that just does everything, be the 3. Like, games wasn't even a priority or ever thought would be a priority for me this season. And since May happened, it's been like a cool shift to be able to travel with the team, connect with people. Like, in college, your road trips are just such a moment to like get to meet people and like talk and just have like quality conversation, which is no different here at the pro level, which has been so awesome to get to experience my first year. And then I got called into camp, U23 national team camp at the end of June, which was like, I remember getting that email and I was like, my mind was blown. I couldn't even believe that I had gotten invited, like, let alone get a pro contract, but then get invited to one of our youth national teams, which has always been a dream and goal of mine, like that I never thought would come true. And then literally less than a month later, I got my first game as a professional. And the only thing, I didn't black out, but it was one of those moments where like I had to rewatch to like really like appreciate everything that I did. But I just remember seeing my grandma. I didn't see anyone else in the crowd besides my grandma holding her phone up, and she flew out to Seattle for 24 hours. And it was one of those moments where it was just like, I work so hard and I really do put my best effort and attitude into everything I do. And to have a moment like that where it really did just all come full circle, and it's just been like a season of just like dreams coming true, really. And I am just so honestly proud of myself, because I really have worked for everything that I've achieved. And it's just been like an honor just to get to live every day.
Oh.
For those of you that are only listening, you do need to know that Jill's crying. I have goosebumps, but like if you're not feeling emotional after hearing Maddie talk, then I don't know, you definitely need to check your heartbeat. Because it's just such a cool thing to hear you talk about living out your dream, but also having the introspection to be able to reflect and understand that and like be where you are because it's so easy really at any time you're competing, but the higher levels you go, just to have that mindset of like goal, smash goal, and you don't take the time to stop and pause and be where you are. And I just love hearing you just kind of have a full embodied experience and take the time to be proud of yourself. And for me, like as a coach and someone who's gotten the opportunity to do life but coach you as well, it's super refreshing to hear, and it just makes me feel incredibly proud as well.
Yeah. Where do you feel like you developed this mentality? Has that always been something that's within you? Is it something that you realized like later on in your career? Where did you refine this part of who you are? Because it's very different, it's very special, and it's something I think that if I could share with every single person that's currently playing, like I would want everyone to have this skill.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of growing up was just me being very competitive and me only focusing on soccer. And it wasn't until college that I just kind of realized how much life was passing me by and like struggled with like some mental health stuff. But there was just this like necessary and need to change the mindset, or it was just not going to be sustainable from just a life and quality of life and like quality of life and soccer standpoint that just like had to change. And like I feel like I've since that like 2021 soccer season, fall soccer season, have just really worked to change the mentality for appreciating even in the ups and downs and appreciating all the in-betweens and not trying to get too high on the highs or low on the lows. And I'm not perfect. I'm like an emotional person and I just get super excited about everything, even if it's just like a good touch one time. Like I get so excited for myself. So it's just always like a learning process. But I think ever since this beginning of the year, I have really like honed in on journaling. And for me, I used it as a chance to reflect back on like what preseason was going to be for me, whether good or bad. But what it's really taught me, and something that I've always struggled with, is staying present because of that like excitement for life and the excitement for stuff around me. But it's also just taught me like how to be excited, but also to like reflect in the moment and appreciate it in the moment.
Um, I think that mentality just, I think it probably leaked out even more like when we got to know you in terms of like you're taking your senior year, then you're going to go pro, and then you decided to take your fifth year or COVID year and stay and play another year of college before trying to go pro, and you came to do the internship with TKI. Can you just talk about that experience? And how your mentality that you had been refining came out during that internship, and how it kind of helped you even now at the next level, at the professional level, and how that is exemplified every single day in training.
Yeah, I think before when my first senior year, so my fourth year after my fourth season, and I was kind of really set on going pro, I think there was a lot of like ignorance to what it really took and what it looked like just based on my experience. I thought my hard work was gonna be enough, but I didn't even realize like hard work has to meet the level and the talent that is surrounded. And so when I walked into TKI for the first time in what was that, December of 24, I was like, I am not ready. I remember crying on the turf. I was like, I need help. And I think it was just such a moment where I was like, I had this plan and this idea of what it was going to look like, and it's not going to look like that at all anymore, as well as like navigating what it could potentially look like. And I think as I hit the internship in the summer of 25, it really opened my eyes to failure. I hadn't really had to experience what navigating failure looked like. It felt like I was always the best in whatever environment I ever was. I was always the one pushing the envelope. There was never anyone pushing from behind me. And so I think when I was there and I had to fail for the first time, I don't even think I really could. Like I tried to learn spread, like literally for the first like month and a half I was there. And it was like, just let go. And I'm like, I'm trying, bro. I'm trying to let go, and I couldn't. And there was just a day, like, I think when we were at I had a day with Tori, but I also had a day in front of like our convention that we were participating in, and I think it was because there were so many people that I was like, don't back down now. Your back's against the wall. And I spread for the first time, and I was like, afterwards, I forget who I even called, but I was like screaming in the phone. I was like, I did it, like, and it was like just like growth from there. And I think it was that like it's hard to fail, and at mindset it's hard, like you have to be patient with yourself to get there, but there's such a freedom that opens up when you aren't afraid of like looking backwards or what could happen or all the failure. And I think that was my first like 4 weeks in a nutshell, and then like my next 5 weeks was such a like freedom. And I think since then I've just had this freedom of like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, it's so much more fun to just like try new things, have fun. Like, this is just a sport at the end of the day that's like a vehicle to showcase who you are and what you do. It's not who you are and what you do. And I think like I had that almost like one epiphany moment that just like changed that trajectory that I still carry with me.
Yeah. I think it kind of goes hand in hand to what you and I were talking about the other day. And like, this sticks with me. I have thought about this every single day since you and I spoke on the phone. And you said, your ceiling is only high as you believe it can be. And that one singular sentence I've thought about every single day. Like, what do I believe about myself? But also the person in front of me, we can help and provide you all the pictures and all the tools that you want. But if you don't believe that you can emergency slide tackle outside the penalty area, then that's not going to happen for you. If you don't believe that you can do a spread 100 times wrong, if you do not believe that 101 will be your breakthrough, it won't be your breakthrough. And to me, that is the foundation of how we train at TKI. It is the foundation of every great goalkeeper, is just knowing that like your ceiling is just really only as high as you believe it can be. If you just want to stay stuck in your ways for who you are, you're not going to grow. Your ceiling is going to be lower. And I think that more than most goalkeepers that I've ever worked with, you harness and embody that and like really embrace it. And to me, that's like such a sign of like strength and resilience. It's not this like, I'm afraid to make mistakes, and so I'm going to go within and try to hide, because that's what I did with my career. It's like, nah, I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to try and I'm going to explore and I'm going to find out some information. And I know that I can learn from, sure, a positive outcome, but I can also learn from getting a red card in one of my first games outside the penalty area. So
Happens to the best of them.
it really does. Tori, I've bogarted all of the conversation and the questions, so I know you have some more.
All good. It's all good. I think that is what like makes you so special, Maddie, to kind of go off of what Joel is saying there. Like it's just a mindset that really sets you apart. And if I could take that, like Joel said, and give it to people, I think, gosh, they would experience so much freedom. And like you kept talking about like freedom, and I actually wrote that down because it just got me thinking. Like when you can give yourself that freedom to fail, you can give yourself the freedom to put yourself out there and be exposed. It's just like it releases more and more freedom. But with that being said, what would you say are your key takeaways? It sounds like giving yourself freedom and like not being afraid to fail is definitely part of it. But what would you say if you had to categorize into like maybe 2 to 3 takeaways about going and making that transition from college to pro? What would they be?
Obviously, yeah, we touched on freedom already, but I think another one is the willingness to put yourself out there. And I think that kind of all ties into it, but I'm thinking more from like a culture standpoint. I think as a goalkeeper specifically, your job when you come in is not to fight for minutes necessarily. I mean, if you get that dream
Right.
scenario at this level, like congrats, but that's not really the realistic way that this works for goalkeepers. And so I think like buying into the culture of the environment around you and buying into the people is really what helps you make an impact in the like room that you're in. And I think originally my job was to be the 3. And I even told Lloyd before I came here that I knew my biggest 2 goals were to provide good service and be a good teammate. And I was like, and then be a good goalkeeper. But it was like I knew what my role was coming in, and knowing that and then buying into that role, which I did to the best of my ability, which creating relationships with both staff and team, putting myself in the culture in a way that like I couldn't just be removed. Like I'm now part of the culture, and I mean something to Seattle Reign, something more than just a goalkeeper. There's a ton of good goalkeepers out there, but like how many people are doing the work to be a great teammate as well and setting themselves up where they stay after for as long as the field players need to be that extra hand? Does it always do I love it all the time? No, but like I know that like I'm making someone else better, and that brings me just as much joy as myself getting better. So that's like my number one is knowing your role and then buying into it 100% and going above and beyond what they could have expected. I mean, I think another one is really just on the other side of it, like doing your own work and really honing in on the extra hours. Because when you're the third or the second, you're staying after to take the shots for the forward. And then you might have to go do this. And it's like, you've already been out there for an hour and a half maybe. And it's like, I really don't want to do the extra kicking I need to do. But it's like, that's your moment. Your moment to do the extra kicking is an hour and a half later, and you have to do it. And that's the mentality I take is, my time comes when everyone else is done, and I'm going to make sure that my time is like perfect. I'm going to do everything I can in that time to make it as the best quality as I can. And I think it's a great simulation of like a game. You've played for maybe 80 minutes and you're tired as crap, but can you hit that long ball behind the backs? So I think that mentality of just like changing your focus in however you can to make sure that you are getting better as well while serving the people around you.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. And it's, we just had Katie on to talk about the transition as well. She's over with North Carolina. If you haven't listened to that one, give it a listen. But you say something similar about like investing in yourself and what that looks like. So you give an example of like, staying after and hitting long balls, or like staying after to get shots because it's going to support your teammates. What else does it look like to invest in yourself when you're not necessarily like that starter? Especially, you went from playing, and I think that's sometimes the hardest transition is like you go from playing all these minutes and like you're the go-to guy to your role looks a little different. And I know you've embraced it fully and you found a way to make it work. So like, how do you invest in yourself when that role does look different than it has in like your past seasons?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's really hard because you're pushing the envelope for what you need from everyone else, which can be really, sorry, the sliding, let me start over. The sliding's like really tragic. But I think a lot of times you're fighting for yourself harder than other people will, which that should be the case if you really want your dreams and your goals. But also sometimes you feel like you're the drag. You're like, oh, can you stay after they've already been out there for an hour and a half? Or if you want the extra lift or the extra fitness workout, like you're always asking for more. And it sometimes can feel like you're asking for too much, or you're like putting too much on other people. But I think there's also a level of like, if you have something that you're chasing or that you know you're capable of, like you can't be afraid to ask for it, or you can't be afraid to push for it. And I thankfully am with a goalkeeper coach who like loves like staying out longer, and really like I never feel like a burden. But I mean, when you stay out longer, you're having medical stay out longer, performance sometimes stay out longer. Like you can feel like a burden. And so I think knowing that you have to be brave and asking for more sometimes is like really important, because it's not always easy. And I dealt with that in college as well. But I think it's carried me through here, and just how important it is to do the work for yourself. And that is anything from fitness workouts, like strength workouts, extra kicking, extra diving. If I was struggling with something specific in training today, can we do extra reps at the end? Like anything in between, just being like having the courage when you're new and you're young to ask for something more can sometimes be really difficult.
That's good.
Miss Jill, you got any follow-up questions off of that? Like Maddie's nailed all my questions. I think she's answered like the big things that I'm looking for people to take from this podcast.
I guess my last question is just like a two-parter in terms of, one, what do you think if you were coaching a younger you or a younger person, which you did all summer, but like if you were coaching a younger player, where would you tell them to put a large majority of their focus right now? High school, even younger than that, but also too, like, what do you think the biggest misconception is about playing professionally?
Yeah, so I think the two things I would say about where to put your focus, I think there needs to be attention on and off the field. I think the level of goalkeeping at this level is so much in possession and what you can do with your feet. And I think there is ability to do technical stuff with your feet on your own. And I think you can go and just kick a ball against a wall. Like the amount of times I did random things with a soccer ball growing up that like really I didn't even realize how much it was going to set me up for success at this level just with my ability with my feet. But I think even more important than just anything you do on the field, like your mental side of the game is so important. Like how much you believe in yourself, what your confidence is, how do you get back from giving up a goal in a game? Like, are you the one that's bringing your team in together, or are you going off to the side and complaining and being upset and anything in between? I think that at this level is something that can really set you up and continue to help you grow, because not even this level, at the college level as well, your goalkeeper is your leader. And so how can you embody that and be the best leader? Everyone's different, but challenging yourself the younger you are to set yourself up for success at whatever level is next is really important. And then for the biggest misconception, I think the biggest misconception probably has to do with like that it's always like being a second or a third is like always sunshine and rainbows. I think there's sometimes people that it's like, well, you don't have the pressure and all you have to do is train and it can't be that bad. Like it's like when they're like the dream job is like the second or third quarterback on a team in the NFL. It's like you're making the money and you're not doing the work. But I think that's such a misconception, because if you're at this level, you're competitive. Like you want to play, like you want to be the best. There's no one at this level for a long time that's just happy to be a 2 or a 3. And I think for me, it's my first year. So I take a lot of focus in this year as my growth, my development, me being patient, me just soaking everything in like a sponge. But I think this isn't what I want my reality to be forever. So turning into like the rest of my career, it's about chasing the opportunity to be a winner, making sure in every situation I'm putting myself in a position to eventually be a historic player in this league.
Snaps. Maddie, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. Thanks for being vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing your insight and your experience with people. I hope that anybody who heard this is going to be able to profit, or at least have an opportunity to reflect and think about their own journeys and really challenge themselves to grow, especially mentally, because I think that's your X factor and the reason why you are in the position that you are in. And I think that's the reason also why you're going to, I know the next 5, 10, however many years you decide to play are going to be successful, because you create that for yourself. And success doesn't always mean playing and winning and contributing 90 minutes on a weekly basis. To me, like success and winning is more about how you look at life and the amount of satisfaction and peace that you have on a daily basis. And no matter what team you're in, you're always going to have that. So, because you're you. So hopefully people get to take that away and add that to their own lives, whether you're a parent, a coach, a player, it doesn't matter. That's all important.
Couldn't have said it better myself, JL. Oof, that was a tongue twister. Maddie, we just love you so much, and we're so glad that you were able to find the time for us. And I know your days are hectic and busy, so we appreciate you. We love you. We can't wait to have you back at TKI so soon. Fingers crossed.
Whoop, whoop. So soon. Thank you guys so much. I love chatting with you guys.
Go Seattle Reign.
Yeah, seriously.
Let's go, Reign.
Go Reign. Let's
All
go.
right, but that's all we got for now, you guys. We'll catch you later.
Catch you later.